First, we start by picking the size of our official playing area. For demonstration purposes, we're using the area below as our playing map. Next, every player is going to roll a six-sided die to see who goes first, starting with the highest roller and moving clockwise. For our video, we'll show a two-player match. The first player will draw a land placement card. From the 5 placement cards in their hand, they will lay one down anywhere on the closest edge of the playing area in front of them, but away from the other players. This is known as the draw and place phase. Also, no game can start without a recruit, so each player is given one free recruit to start the game. But from that point on, you'll have to physically recruit additional Wastelanders. Each recruit also has 5 inventory slots to store the gear. The movement phase and action phase, such as assault, medic saves, and trades, can all happen after the second turn of the game. We'll discuss these action phases later. For on your first turn, you can still forage for food, salvage for weapons, or recruit more Wastelanders. To recruit, first check to see if your placement card or your Wastelander have any bonuses that apply towards recruiting. Then roll a 20-sided die. If you roll an 8 or higher, after bonuses have been applied to the roll, draw another recruit card and place them on the same tile as the Wastelander that did the action. To salvage, start by rolling a 20-sided die. If you have an even number roll between 4 and 16, draw the top card off the salvage stack. If you roll a 17 or 20, draw the top 2 cards from the salvage stack. However, if you roll a 3 or below, the Wastelander dies. If you're lucky enough to get an item, equip it to the Wastelander or apply it to their inventory. Foraging can only be done once per placement card unless otherwise specified. Roll a 6-sided die, collect equal number of food tokens, and add them to your surplus. Place a famine token on the placement card. Finally, you must feed your Wastelanders at the end of the turn. If you have less food than Wastelanders, you must make up your mind as to which Wastelander is worth losing. Once on the second turn of the game, you will repeat the process above, but you'll now be able to use the movement phase. Each card you place down must be touching a card already on the game table, and also each placement card you lay down must be explored by a recruit. If you have 2 or more Wastelanders, you can now use the trade option as an action phase choice. With trading, you can switch gears between any 2 Wastelanders per action phase per recruit. Both recruits must be standing on the same placement card. Remember though, you only get 1 action phase choice per Wastelander, so choose wisely. On the 4th turn, event cards are added into the mix. These cards are drawn between the action phase and the feeding phase of the turn. Here below we show the 4th placement card that has been played and the action phase for each recruit has been done. Now the player pulls an event card. Event cards only affect the player pulling it for that turn unless otherwise specified. Each player must pull an event card every turn from now on. Once opponents place cards are touching, this opens additional options during the player action phase. Each Wastelander can now choose assault and medic saves as their action if applicable. Hand-to-hand combat. This is between 2 opposing recruits. The one who moves last and uses the assault action first is the attacker. The attacker rolls a 20-sided die. They then add any gear attack modifiers on top of that. This is your attack number. The defender rolls a 6-sided die and then multiplies it by the total defense modifier points their Wastelander has. All recruits start with at least +1 defense. If the defense has more points than the attacker loses and the attacking recruit dies. If the defender does not have enough defense points, they die. In the rare event of a tie, the attacker wins. Sometimes weapons have a range bonus on the placement card or salvage card. This allows the attacker to kill you from afar. But if they miss their target, they won't die unless they starve to death or the defender has equal or greater range and defense. If the attacker total points is 18 and the defender's is a 16, difference in this example, 2, is considered death debt. This comes into play at medic saves action phase. Medic saves. Let's say that you were attacked and a Wastelander dies from the assault. Once it's your turn, you may be able to use the medic save, but only if you have a premium salvaged medical instant card or a medic recruit on the game board within 4 placement cards of the attack. Each medic recruit you have in play can use their action turn to save one Wastelander by rolling a 6-sided die. Then take your roll and compare this to the total remaining points of death debt. If you rolled higher than the death debt, the recruit is saved and moves to the placement card the medic is on. Either way, saved or not, the salvage gear the Wastelander had at the time of death stays on the placement card. That's because whether a Wastelander dies, no matter if by starvation or a gunfight, and they have salvage cards, you must leave the salvage cards face down on the placement card so you cannot see what the card is. The point is to explore the entire map, fight for survival, and to be the last man standing. Do you think you can survive the Wastelanders? If you think this is brutal, stay tuned in for the hardcore deck versus deck tournament rules.